You know that feeling when you decide, right, I'm going to learn algorithms.
Yeah.
And you start looking online, maybe grab a textbook, and suddenly you're just drowning in information.
Yeah.
It feels, overwhelming. Like you end up more confused than when you started.
Oh, absolutely. It's a classic problem, especially with technical subjects. It's like, where do you even begin? How does it all connect?
Exactly. Which is why we're doing this deep dive today. We found this open source book called Hello, Algo.
Mm.
And the big claim is that it's, beginner friendly. So our mission really is to figure out what's special about it. Is it actually going to help you listening right now grasp these things quickly, properly, without all that usual headache?
Yeah, we're basically looking at the intro parts of the book. What's the philosophy? Who's it really for? Is it, worth your time?
Okay, let's get into it. Beginner friendly, that can mean a lot of things. Who are they specifically targeting with Hello, Algo?
Well, they're pretty clear. First off, yeah, total beginners. People just starting out in computer science, maybe. But interestingly, also people who've maybe used algorithms or data structures before, but have that vague understanding, as the book calls it.
Ah, right. Like you know how to use something, but not really why it works, or if it's the best tool.
Exactly that feeling. If you've ever thought, I solved it, but I'm not totally sure why this is the right way, then yeah, this book seems to be talking to you.
That makes a lot of sense. I think many people feel that way. You can get by, but you don't have that solid foundation.
Precisely. And they also say that even if you do have good problem-solving skills, you could use it for a review. They even suggest the code repository itself could work as a kind of algorithm cheat sheet, which is pretty handy.
A cheat sheet, yeah,
Yeah.
that's practical. And what about experts? You mentioned open source.
Right. They actually invite algorithm experts to contribute, which, points towards it being a living document, something that keeps improving.
Okay, so potentially quite a wide net. What do you actually need to know before starting? Is there a big barrier to entry?
Apparently not. The only prerequisite they mention is knowing basic code in at least one language.
Oh, really? Just basic coding?
That's what it says. So it sounds like they're really trying to lower that barrier, make it genuinely accessible.
Okay, that's promising. So assuming you've got basic coding down, what's the actual content like? How is it structured?
They call it a knowledge map, which sounds organized. It's broken down into 3 main areas. First is complexity analysis. This is basically about figuring out how efficient your code is.
Efficiency, like speed.
Speed, yeah. So time complexity, how long it takes to run as you give it more data. But also space complexity, how much memory it uses. It covers the common ways to measure this, big O notation, things like linear growth, logarithmic growth.
Ah, okay.
Well,
So you understand why one algorithm might be way faster than another when dealing with lots of data.
exactly. It gives you the tools to evaluate those trade-offs. That's the first part.
Got it. What's area number 2?
Number 2 is data structures. So these are the fundamental ways you actually organize data in your program. Something arrays, linked lists.
Right, the basics.
Yeah, stacks, queues, hash tables, which are super useful, like looking things up in a dictionary very fast. Then trees, heaps, graphs, all that foundational stuff.
And does it just define them, or?
No, it goes deeper. For each one, it talks about, what it is, pros and cons, when you'd use it, the common operations, applications, and even how they're implemented.
Okay, so practical context, not just theory, but when and why you'd pick one over another. That's crucial.
Absolutely. That context is often what's missing from drier, more academic texts.
Makes sense. And the third part of the map.
The third part is algorithms themselves. So the actual step-by-step procedures for solving problems. It defines what an algorithm is, talks about its efficiency, linking back to that complexity analysis part.
Right, tying it together.
Exactly. Discusses pros and cons, applications, and general problem-solving approaches. Then it gives examples of different types of algorithms, things like searching, binary search. If your data is sorted, it's super quick.
Like finding a name in a phone book, yeah.
Precisely. And sorting algorithms, quick sort, merge sort, those kinds of things, explaining maybe why you'd use one over the other. And then it gets into slightly more advanced techniques too. Divide and conquer, backtracking, dynamic programming, greedy algorithms. It covers quite a range.
Wow, okay, so it really does seem to cover the core landscape, complexity, structures, and the algorithms that use them.
Yeah, they even mention a figure 01 in the book, like a visual map of all this, to emphasize the structured approach.
Okay, clear structure. But there are tons of resources out there already. What makes Hello Algo feel different? What's their unique angle?
I think this really gets to the heart of it. They hammer home the free and beginner-friendly aspects right off the bat. But the how is interesting. They talk a lot about using animated illustrations.
Ah, visual.
Yeah, and easy to understand content. The idea is to create a smooth learning curve. So if you're someone who struggles to visualize, say, how recursion works or how data gets moved around in a sort,
Seeing an animation could make it just click.
exactly, that visual element can be incredibly powerful for understanding abstract concepts.
Definitely. What else?
Then there's the one-click code execution. This sounds really cool.
Meaning.
Meaning you don't just read about the algorithm, you can apparently run the code examples right there, instantly see what happens.
Oh, wow. That's hands-on.
Super hands-on. It gets past that frustration of just reading theory and not, doing anything. It lets you experiment, tweak things maybe, and see the results.
That sounds like a huge plus for really cementing the knowledge. Less passive reading, more active learning.
Totally. It feels much more engaging. And then there's this learning by teaching philosophy they mention.
Learning by teaching. How does that work in a book?
Well, they encourage readers to ask questions, share what they've figured out, maybe explain concepts to others in the community forums or wherever the discussion happens. There's actually good evidence that trying to explain something to someone else forces you to understand it better.
Right, it solidifies it in your own mind.
Exactly. So they're trying to build that kind of collaborative environment around the book.
So it's not just a book. It's aiming to be more like an interactive learning platform almost, with community aspects.
That seems to be the vibe, yeah.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned the community aspect. Sometimes the acknowledgement section of a book gives you some interesting background. Anything stand out there?
Yeah, the acknowledgments are quite revealing. First, just the number of contributors listed from the open source community, it's huge.
Really?
Yeah, the list is long. It really drives home that this wasn't just one person's effort, but a big collaboration. You see names pop up repeatedly.
That suggests a lot of eyes on it, refining it.
Definitely. And they specifically thank people for key roles, like code reviewers. They name folks like Coderonian, Gonglia, suggesting they're serious about the code quality in different languages. And also translation reviewers, people like Shyam Chen, Dr. XYZ, working on, I think, the traditional Chinese version. It shows a real commitment to making it accessible globally.
That's great. Removing the language barrier, too.
Absolutely. And then there are the more personal thank yous from the author, which are quite nice. They mention a mentor who told them to get moving fast, which was apparently a big push.
Ah, a little origin story spark.
Yeah, and also thanking their girlfriend for giving a beginner's perspective, making sure it actually made sense to someone new to the topic.
That's smart, getting that real-world beginner feedback.
Totally. And the name Hello Algo apparently came from the classic Hello World program. Kind of a cute, nerdy nod.
I like that. Relatable.
Yeah. There are also thanks for help with intellectual property stuff important for open source and for the cover and logo design. Oh, and interestingly, they cite the book Dive into Deep Learning as an inspiration. Specifically, its hands-on, minds-on approach.
Ah, so that practical interactive element we talked about was a conscious inspiration.
Seems like it. It lines up perfectly. And, finally, just a simple thank you to the author's parents. Adds that human touch.
It really does. It paints a picture of something built with care, with community, and, yeah, some personal passion behind it.
Definitely feels that way.
Okay, so let's try and boil this down. After this deep dive into the introductory stuff, what's the main takeaway for someone listening if they're thinking about Hello Algo?
I think the key takeaway is that Hello Algo really positions itself as this comprehensive but genuinely approachable resource. If you want to learn algorithms and data structures or just solidify what you already know, it seems designed to make that process smoother. It uses clear language, visuals, runnable code examples, and has that community support baked in. And crucially, it's free and open source.
Right. And it feels like it directly tackles that initial problem we talked about, the feeling of being overwhelmed. It seems built to help you, the listener, learn efficiently, learn thoroughly, but without getting lost in, overly dense academic jargon.
Exactly. The focus is clearly on making it understandable and practical.
Which leads to maybe a final thought to leave people with. Given that it's open source, built by this big community, how might this collaborative model change how we learn complex technical things like this in the future? What are the upsides, maybe the downsides of community-driven knowledge building in computer science?
That's a really interesting question, isn't it? The potential for scale, for diverse perspectives, but maybe challenges in consistency or direction. definitely something to think about.
For sure. So if any of this sounds interesting, if you've been looking for that accessible guide, maybe check out Hello Algo. It's out there, freely available. It could be just the thing you need to finally feel confident navigating the world of algorithms and data structures.